Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers for Tuesday, November, reveal that Tracy Quartermaine will throw out Veronica Ronnie Bard while Drew Kane makes new demands. Sonny Corinthos will also deliver a fatal warning, so there'll be a lot passing in Tuesday's GH occasion. For starters, Tracy will yell at Ronnie to get out of her house now that she realizes Monica Quartermaine actually gave the Quartermaine manse to her. Meanwhile, it looks like Portia Robinson will hide out of sight until Curtis Ashford and Jordan Ashford finish their makeout session. Once Curtis is gone, Portia will knock on Jordan's door and presumably leave Jordan, allowing that Curtis forgot commodity. "Were you awaiting my hubby?" Portia asks in Tuesday's exercise videotape. From there, Portia will rip into Jordan for dishing her gestation, planting a kiss on Curtis and constantly fitting herself into their relationship problems. As for Curtis, he'll tell Marshall Ashford that he's realized Jordan is the one he wants to be with. Marshall will get updates on Curtis' news and try to help him navigate all the romantic drama. Next, Drew will disaccord with Sonny now that he set up him in Alexis Davis's office. The battle will ultimately bring further of Drew's allegations about Michael Corinthos pulling the detector on him. However, "You'd be dead," Sonny shouts at Drew in Tuesday's exercise clip, "if Michael wanted you dead." At some point, Drew will also tell Alexis there's been a change of plans, so he'll pile on new demands and try to force Alexis to help him get vengeance on the Quartermaines. Over with Martin Gray, he'll come clean to Laura Collins now that his will fiddle has blown up. Laura will be extremely disappointed in Martin for duping everyone about Monica's final wishes and causing so important pain. At GH, Rocco Falconeri will be baffled, so it sounds like he'll be stopped before he can enter the room where Britt is edging in herself with drug boluses. Indeed, if Rocco does manage to catch a regard of Britt dealing with her medical issues, his plan to steal the crucial fob for Emma Scorpio Drake and Giovanni Gio Palmieri may not work out. It may be Jason Morgan who interrupts and eventually derails Rocco's charge, since he'll want to talk to Britt alone. It looks like some pressure is on the way, grounded on Tuesday's exercise videotape, which shows Britt getting choked up as she declares that Jason can't be serious. Jason may gossip out some tough love and push her to keep her distance from Rocco, considering all the shady stuff she's mixed up in. Since Britt is unwilling to be completely honest with Jason, he may indeed want to take a step back from their own fellowship. Nonetheless, General Hospital spoilers say Britt will get a stern warning that might come from Sidwell. It seems Sidwell will meet with someone in a stairwell and advise that they're going to do exactly what he tells them to do, so Britt may be on the entering end of his rearmost orders. General Hospital recap for Monday, November, reveals that Monica Quartermaine left the house to Tracy Quartermaine while Rocco Falconeri had a Britt Westbourne charge and Professor Henry Hank Dalton had an outburst. In Laura Collins' office, she rejected Jen Sidwell's offer to work together and reminded him of his once crimes. Sidwell ultimately suggested that not indeed sale was financial and that everyone had their price, including Laura. Meanwhile, Emma Scorpio Drake flipped out over the news that Britt was now part of Professor Dalton's exploration platoon. Emma blustered about Britt being a sickie and rattled off some cuts, but Britt gave as good as she got and put Emma in her place. After Britt took off, a fuming Professor Dalton made it clear that Emma couldn't speak to Britt that way since she was an inestimable part of the exploration. Emma was dismissed for the day, so she met up with Giovanni Gio Palmieri and gave him updates on Britt's involvement with Dalton. Subsequently, Gio and Emma turned to Rocco for help getting Britt's crucial fob for the lab. Rocco had some reservations, but Emma and Gio induced him that he'd just be adopting rather than stealing. At GH, Portia Robinson complained to Elizabeth Baldwin about Jordan Ashford figuring out she was pregnant and incontinently telling Curtis Ashford about it. Elizabeth scrabbled for information on Brad Cooper and whether he'd be an issue for Portia if he followed Britt back to Port Charles. Portia played down that idea, but she was still stressed over baby daddy drama and interferers in her life. At Jordan's place, Curtis showed up to tell her that Portia verified the gestation. Although Curtis wanted to be a father to this baby, he made it clear that Jordan was the one and only woman he wanted. Jordan cried since she wanted that too, but she stressed Curtis would change his mind and leave her agonized each over again. Curtis offered consolation, but Jordan allowed. They should take effect slow and stay until after his divorce was perfected. Still, Jordan didn't want to stay on kissing Curtis, so she locked lips with him in her doorway. That gave Portia a chance to catch the smooch as she glared at Curtis and Jordan in the hall. At GH again, Liz quizzed Britt about Brad compactly. Britt ultimately slipped into a private room to fit herself with her drug cure right as Rocco stood outdoors ready to enter. As for Tracy, she looked through Monica Quartermain's will packet and set up a note. Monica knew there might be some shady business with the will, so she put the real bone in with Alan Quartermain's things, knowing that Tracy would find it. At the Quartermain manse, Outback ran off with the house paperwork and led to Drew Kane's frenetic gusto to get it back. Veronica Ronnie Bard suggested she could stay for another dupe, but Drew and Martin Gray didn't want any further detainments. Michael Corinthos, Harrison Chase, Brooklyn Quartermain, Ned Quartermain and Olivia Quartermain were also part of the drama. Cody Bell got the paperwork back from Outback and handed it over, so Drew formally again dragooned Ronnie to subscribe and no way have to deal with the Quartermains again. Tracy ultimately came shambling in with the real will and wanted to stop the house trade. Still, Ronnie had formally ripped up the papers since she couldn't go through with it. Ronnie wound up confessing that Martin signed her for the fiddle, which she wanted no part of until she met Tracy and got such an awful response. Drew claimed he knew nothing about all this, so Ronnie verified that was true as far as she knew. Tracy ordered Drew out and wanted Martin arrested. Chase put Martin in bind and set to haul him off to jail, but Ned suggested about having a better idea. Once Martin arrived at Laura's office soon after, she set about he was in some trouble. Back with Michael, he read the will and set about Monica actually left the house to Tracy, not him. Tracy looked both pleased and touched over that disclosure. In Alexis Davis's office, Sonny tried to offer Portia Robinson as another suspect to concentrate on for Willow Tate's defense. Drew eventually burst in and questioned why Sonny was there with Alexis. General Hospital spoilers say Drew will throw further problems at Alexis soon enough, so don't miss what's in store. In the sprawling, interconnected tapestry of Port Charles, few events carry the weight of a baptism. It is a ceremony designed to be a sanctuary of hope, a sacred promise for a child's future, shielded from the sins and secrets of the past. Yet, in this city, the hallowed halls of a church are often merely a stage for the next great unraveling. The planned baptism of a child, let's call him Leo, the beloved son of Lucas Jones and the vibrant, sometimes troubled, Jacinda Miller, was intended to be a cornerstone of stability. It was meant to be a day where encouraging words from loved ones would form a protective circle around their little family. Instead, it becomes the catalyst for a revelation so profound it threatens to shatter every foundation Jacinda has ever known. As the holy water is prepared, Michael Corinthos, in his relentless pursuit of truth and justice, inadvertently pulls on a thread that unravels the very fabric of Jacinda's identity, exposing the long-buried, shocking truth about her biological mother. Part 1, The Calm Before the Storm, a Baptismal Prelude. The air in the church is thick with a fragile peace. Lucas Jones, ever the steady and caring father, beams with pride, his focus entirely on his son, Leo. Jacinda, having weathered numerous personal storms, sees this day as a hard-won victory, a chance to finally provide a normal, blessed life for her child. She is radiant, a vision of maternal love, but for those who know her well, there's a faint, almost imperceptible tremor of anxiety beneath the surface. Her past is a closed book, and she prefers it that way. The encouraging words flow freely, each one layering upon the day with poignant, and ultimately ironic, meaning. Lucas's mother, Bobby, might offer a heartfelt sentiment about the circle of life and the power of a mother's love, her words landing on Jacinda with a weight she cannot yet understand. Felicia Scorpio, perhaps standing as godmother, speaks of new beginnings and the washing away of old ghosts, words that will soon prove terrifyingly prophetic. Michael Corinthos himself, attending with his wife Willow, offers his support, his mind only partially on the ceremony. He is, as ever, embroiled in some corporate or personal intrigue, his presence a testament to his friendship with Lucas. His words to Jacinda are kind, generic, he's a lucky boy to have you as his mother. In the moment, it is a simple kindness. In hindsight, it will feel like a cruel joke. The angry threats at this stage are not yet directed at the family, but they simmer in the periphery. Perhaps there is a looming business threat from Cyrus Renault or Selena Wu that has Michael on edge, making him more dogged and paranoid than usual. Maybe a former adversary of Jacinda's is seen lurking in the shadows of Port Charles, a reminder of a life she tried to leave behind. These external pressures are the kindling, but the spark that ignites the blaze comes from a place of pure coincidence and Michael's innate, often destructive, need for answers. Part 2, The Unraveling Thread, Michael's Investigation. Michael Corinthos is a man shaped by secrets. His entire life has been a series of revelations about his own paternity, his family, and his legacy. This history has forged him into a human bloodhound for the truth, incapable of letting a mystery lie. His current investigation is unrelated to Jacinda. Perhaps he is looking into the background of a new business associate, digging into the finances of a shady charity, or trying to uncover a blackmail plot against a friend. In the course of this routine digging, he stumbles upon a digital ghost. A sealed record, an old hospital document, or a forgotten news article from another state mentions a young woman from Port Charles in connection with a decades-old adoption or a tragic case of a missing infant. The name of that young woman is one that sends a jolt of recognition through him. It's a name known to everyone in that church, but in a completely different context. The connection is tangential to his case, a shared location, a common financial backer, a linked alias. But for Michael, the puzzle is now irresistible. The pieces don't fit the narrative he knows. Driven by a mix of professional diligence and personal obsession, he begins to cross-reference dates, locations, and names. He uses his resources at Crimson or his contacts from his time running Aurora to dig deeper into a past that was never meant to be uncovered. He isn't trying to hurt Jacinda. In his mind, he is potentially solving an old, cold case. He sees himself as a force for justice, unaware that the justice he is about to deliver is a devastating, personal bomb. Part 3, The Revelation, the true identity of Jacinda's biological mother. The moment of discovery likely doesn't happen in the church, but just before or immediately after the service. Perhaps Michael, unable to let it go, receives a final, confirming email or document on his phone as the congregation gathers for the post-baptism reception at Kelly's. The revelation is not just shocking, it is earth-shattering. Jacinda's biological mother is not a stranger from a forgotten past. She is Bobby Spencer. The implications are staggering. Bobby Spencer, the town's beloved former nurse, the moral compass for so many, the woman who has been a grandmother figure to Leo all along. The history rewrites itself in an instant. Bobby, in her youth, before she was the pillar of the community, had a child she was forced to give up under tragic circumstances, perhaps due to pressure from her then-husband, Tony Jones, the manipulations of a figure like Helena Cassadine, or simply the dire straits of being a young woman with no resources. She had buried this loss so deep that she never imagined it would resurface, especially not in the form of the woman her own son, Lucas, loved. Other possibilities, while less symmetrical, are equally dramatic. The bio-mother could be Lucy Coe. This would tie Jacinda to a legacy of scheming, drama, and immense wealth. Lucy's history of wild choices and hidden pregnancies makes this plausible. It would make Jacinda the heir to deception and a fortune, pitting her against Lucy's current relationships and business partners. Ava Jerome, a revelation that Jacinda is the daughter Ava was forced to give up as a teenager would be a masterpiece of drama. It would connect Jacinda to the artistic, volatile, and dangerous Jerome legacy, creating an instant and intense rivalry with Kiki's memory and Ava's current daughter, Avery. Leslie Webb, as a respected doctor and Elizabeth Webber's grandmother, this would anchor Jacinda in one of Port Charles's most established medical families, creating a new dynamic with Elizabeth and forcing a re-evaluation of Leslie's seemingly quiet history. But the Bobby reveal is the most Shakespearean. It means Lucas and Jacinda are not just spouses, they are adoptive brother and sister. Their marriage is, unknowingly, built on a foundation of profound familial transgression. Leo is their son, but he is also the product of a union that society and law universally condemn. Part 4, The Aftermath, encouraging words curdle, angry threats explode. The baptismal reception is in full swing. Laughter and light conversation fill the air. Bobby is cooing over her grandson, Leo, her heart full. Lucas has his arm around Jacinda, both of them glowing with parental joy. And then Michael enters. His face is pale, his demeanor shattered. The encouraging words die in his throat. The confrontation is not a public spectacle at first. Michael pulls Lucas and Bobby aside, his voice low and urgent. He tries to explain the impossible. The initial reaction is disbelief, then anger. Lucas's angry threats are immediate and visceral, directed at Michael. How dare you? What kind of sick joke is this? Get out. Bobby is likely struck silent, the color draining from her face as a memory she locked away a lifetime ago breaks free with terrifying force. But Michael has proof. A document, a birth certificate, a DNA correlation. The truth is undeniable. The scene then fractures into a kaleidoscope of horror. Bobby's collapse, the encouraging, grandmotherly matriarch is gone, replaced by a grief-stricken woman confronting her greatest shame and loss. Her words are no longer a blessing, but of anguished apology. I didn't know. I never thought. Lucas, my boy, I'm so sorry. Her world, built over decades of service and love, crumbles in an instant. Lucas's denial and rage, his entire reality disintegrates. The woman he loves is his sister. The son he adores is the product of an incestuous union. His angry threats become existential. He may threaten to ruin Michael, to sue the hospital, to destroy the records. His anger is a wild, desperate flame looking for anything to consume, because the alternative is to be consumed by his own despair. Jacinda's identity crisis. For Jacinda, this is the ultimate betrayal by the universe. Her entire life, her search for self, her hard-won peace, was a lie. The encouraging words she spoke to herself about building a new family are rendered hollow. Who is she? Is she Jacinda Miller, or is she the secret daughter of Bobby Spencer? Her relationship with Lucas is now a taboo. Her son is a living reminder of a terrible mistake. Her angry threats might be directed inward, a threat to flee, to disappear, to tear herself away from the beautiful, broken life she has built. The fallout extends throughout the community. Willow is horrified for Michael and the family, caught between supporting her husband and condemning the chaos he unleashed. Former rivals of Jacinda or Lucas might see this as a vulnerability to be exploited. The legal and social ramifications are immense. What does this mean for Lucas and Jacinda's marriage? For Leo's legitimacy and custody? The baptism was meant to be a blessing, it has become a curse. Part 5, The Long Shadow, a Legacy Reckoning. In the days and weeks that follow, Port Charles is rocked by the scandal. The initial angry threats evolve into a cold, painful war of attrition. Lucas versus himself and Michael. Lucas may never forgive Michael, seeing him not as a truth-teller, but as the destroyer of his world. He is trapped in an impossible dilemma. His love for Jacinda and Leo is real, but the context is now monstrous. He may threaten to take Leo and leave Port Charles, initiating a brutal custody battle against Jacinda, who is, unbelievably, also the child's aunt. Bobby versus her past. Bobby must reckon with the choices of her youth. Her encouraging words now ring false in her own ears. She may seek absolution from Lucas and Jacinda, but the damage is done. Her relationship with her son is fractured, and her newfound daughter is a stranger trapped in a nightmare. She may direct her angry threats at the people or institutions that forced her to give up her child, launching a painful and public revisiting of her past. Jacinda's choice. Jacinda stands at the epicenter. Does she reject this new history and fight for the family she built with Lucas, defying biology and convention? Or does the weight of the truth make it impossible for her to look at him, or even her son, the same way again? Her encouraging words will be for herself, a desperate mantra to simply survive the day. She may threaten to sever all ties, to spare Leo the stigma of his parentage, disappearing into the night. The child, Leo, becomes the ultimate symbol of this tragedy. He is innocent, beloved, and yet his very existence is now a source of profound pain and conflict. The blessing of his baptism has been inverted. He is now a living, breathing testament to a secret that should have remained buried. Conclusion: the truth as a destroyer and a healer. This storyline is a classic Greek tragedy played out on a modern stage. It explores the devastating power of truth when it is divorced from context and timing. Michael Corinthos, in his quest for one truth, unleashed another that was never his to tell. The encouraging words of the baptism were the last moments of innocence for this family, a beautiful lie that preceded an unbearable truth. The angry threats that follow are the birth pangs of a new, more complicated reality. Can love, the genuine, deep love between Lucas and Jacinda, overcome a biological fact that society deems unconscionable? Can a family be rebuilt on a foundation that has been exposed as fundamentally flawed? The revelation of Jacinda's bio-mother, particularly if it is Bobby, forces every character to confront the ghosts of their past and the fragile nature of their present. It proves that in Port Charles, no secret is ever truly safe, and that the most sacred ceremonies can become the launching pad for the most profane wars. The baptismal water has dried, but the flood it unleashed is only beginning to recede, leaving behind a landscape forever altered, where the road to any possible future must first be paved with the shattered pieces of the past.